Perhaps you're thinking of an area that you'd love to establish a food plot, but you just can't get equipment into it. What I'm going to do is establish several different scenarios on putting in a food plot with little or no equipment. I've got an area here that's got some grasses and weeds growing, and what we're going to do is we're going to spray this area with Roundup and then wait a week and come back in and try to establish a food plot using several different methods. So just stay tuned as we go through this process. Last week we sprayed this field that I'm kneeling in with Roundup, and we're starting to get some of the weeds and grasses are dying. They're starting to brown and yellow. And what we're going to do is take a look at 3 different methods of putting in food plots in a minimum till situation or no-till. On the far end of this plot, what we're going to do is basically just go in with our Mini-Max seed, which is formulated for minimum to no-till situations. The clovers in here will grow with low pH and with minimum or even no tilling. We have a specially formulated seed coat to help these plants germinate. In the middle of this plot, we're going to take a steel garden rake and rip the area up and then take a look at the advantages to a more of a tilling type approach. And on the closest end, closest to you folks, we're going to use a 4-wheeler with a spike tooth drag that will even prepare the soil in a greater way. So stay tuned as we take a look at these 3 different methods and how successful we can be. It's not very tall, but, well, this was that field, folks, where we basically split it into 3 parts, and we used a steel or drag pulled behind a 4-wheeler to rough up this first third, and then behind me we used a steel garden rake. Really the same method of tilling, it's just that the drag section is a whole lot faster pulled behind a 4-wheeler. What we ran into here is we ran into 3, almost 4 weeks of no rain after we planted this. Intense heat. So basically the seed just sat here. We got about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain 4 weeks later after planting, and we got really good germination. It's just that we don't have, the forage is very tall at this point. So nonetheless, for a minimum till situation, we're going to establish a nice perennial food plot. Let's go take a look at the area that we sprayed with Roundup. Boy, this really came out super here. Excellent. If you remember, folks, this is the area, the third that we did not till at all, didn't touch it. We we sprayed the vegetation with Roundup, waited a week, came back in and broadcast that special coated Mini-Max seed, and here's the results. Here again, we went for nearly 4 weeks without rain, and that really stunted this stuff, so it didn't germinate until it rained. And this is about 3 to 4 weeks of growth, roughly. But it's fall, so we're not getting a lot of heat units this time of year. It's supposed to freeze tonight, so we're not going to get much more growth out of this, but this will come on super next spring. Just remember, this is an alternative method of planting, but the key here is that we tested this soil. We had applied lime before, and the pH was above a 6.0. And these plants that are in the Mini-Max are able to grow and thrive in these type of pH levels. So alternative method of planting certainly worked out. Though I do like to use this type of a method more in the spring because we have a tendency to get more timely rains. But nonetheless, we're going to have a super plot next year.